This is our first official look at the sniffer in Minecraft. It was posted by one of Minecraft's developers, and although it is a very huge mob, it has to be said, it is something they are actively changing based on the feedback they've received. Some of this is positive, some of this is negative, but the reason they've said subject to change is this is going to be different by the time we actually get to play with it. This full video, accompanied by these screenshots, is clearly a way to pre-release things before even snapshots happen, and so that's an interesting way they're going to be releasing stuff. But for now, let's talk about how the sniffer is going to change, but also how he is right now. First things first though, you can subscribe to the channel. There's all sorts of real reasons, but how about subscribe to the channel if you thought this yellow thing was his face as well as me? It looks so much like it's an individual derpy face, but apparently this red and the green is part of the face as well, and actually it looks much cuter when you realize that. But yeah, this is a brand new mob in Minecraft, and there's lots to talk about, which I'll dive into as briefly as I can, because my god, he's huge. He is the size of the player, if not a little bit bigger. A lot of people have said, isn't this weird that he's this big by comparison? But technically speaking, if you go back to the Minecraft live click, you can see that Agnes and Jebs are both slightly shorter than it, so of course it's huge, and it's always shocking to actually see it, especially side by side with Alex right here. So that is interesting point number one. The interesting point number two is the fact that, yeah, it is very, very colorful and has lots of animation points, kind of bizarrely for a Minecraft mob. Not only is there so much detail going on in this thing, but you can see like his yellow nose, because he's a sniffer, he has a giant nose, that's not a face apparently. You can see his nose goes up a bit, but you can also see the walking animation is more detailed than most mobs get. This is a problem some people have had with the camel, the other brand new mob coming in 1.20, and it is a really interesting point that, like, you can make Minecraft animations as good as you like, and that makes the game better in theory, but it actually makes all of the other weird animations, like the cow, or even the cow texture, seem strange by comparison, and then you can't even fix those old ones without altering the feel of Minecraft. So I see the kind of box they put themselves in there. And so the last interesting thing of note, which wasn't clear before this video, is about 55 seconds just before the very end, you can see how the sniffer does actually pay attention to Alex over here. There is some form of head tracking going on, which obviously cows and other mobs have had, but the rest of the video and all of the screenshots, they seem to just be oblivious to the player. So it's interesting to see they actually can track the player's movement, and so they're going to have some interesting interaction there. It is perhaps possible. So yeah, I with all of this information in mind, also I guess we can say that it lays down, and that's really cute. I think he looks adorable laying down. Just like, I love putting his legs out to the side, and it's again more of that animation complexity. Taking all of that in stride gives you a really interesting view of one of Minecraft's biggest mobs, a mob which has been directly mentioned to be like, isn't this too detailed? Isn't this too complex? Isn't this too good? And I heard a really interesting response from Japper, who is actually the game art director for Minecraft, who says that the sniffer texture feels high res purely because it's so big, but it's exact same pixel size as everything else. The Striders and Ravagers have the same. Here is a Strider, here is a Ravager, so it looks true enough to me. Big surface equals more detail. It's just how pixel art is. In game, when you play with them, you'll notice it's a non-issue. I'd maybe take umbrage of the fact that he says that it's only an issue in videos if Minecraft themselves decide to put it out via a video, but we'll leave that aside. It's basically a non-point, because he does say something interesting that, like, they didn't do this for the Ghast. This is a message from Discord in 2022, that a pixel-accurate Ghast would need a full redesign in terms of geometry to not make the texture seem high fidelity. There should be multiple body parts in order to compartmentalize the textures, so you have more surfaces that feel more Minecrafty in that sense. And a 64 by 64 surface feels very detailed, and those same surfaces split in 4 feels much better. So he basically says that they can't do it with the Ghast, and because the pixels on the thing would look real weird compared to the surroundings. But I think the interesting point here is that, yeah, it seems as though new textures like the turtle. I mean, have you ever seen baby turtles, by the way? Like, look at the size of these things. But like, if you look at turtles, they are incredibly complex. If you look at pigs, they're incredibly not. There is this old versus new inconsistency set in Minecraft that you can fix by making new mobs look terrible, or you can fix it by making old mobs look good, but then you also ruin some of the feel of Minecraft. Have you ever seen what a HD cow looks like? It's a problem. Have you ever seen what a real cow looks like? I saw black and white cows by the side of the road, and I was shocked that that is a real thing. That's not what a real cow looks like, the Jersey cow. No, a Minecraft cow is the realist version of a cow, and I don't know what point I'm trying to make here. But I do want to say that they have specifically said, so this original video here was put out by W Chewy, who is a 3D artist for Mojang, presumably the one who worked on the sniffer, you would guess if they're posting it, and they've been very excited to actually talk about the sniffer, saying that I noticed a lot of comments about the sniffer's sadness, and I think our team is happy to receive that feedback. The behavior and personality were always intended to express that, so they kind of want to have a kind of sad, mopey mob, and they also say that, you know, they're considering stuff to do with the size as a form of feedback, because yeah, the mob is not finished right now. They're revealing it in a very different way to what we've seen so far, and I think this could be an interesting sign about what they're doing with stuff in the future. I mean, clearly, when something comes to a snapshot, players are upset when it's removed. Even when something is shown at Minecraft Live, there's this slight upset when things have changed. You know, with the birch forests and the fireflies are the key examples. Again, personally, I would look at that and I'd say, well, it's a disappointment about the total quantity of stuff delivered, but Mojang have said, okay, we want to disappoint people as little as possible, and so I'd say this is a tried and true way to do that. You can show it off via Twitter. The thing I don't like is this doesn't feel like a spontaneous, this is just the 3D artists working on it, placing it out there. You know, I don't doubt Chewie's excitement and dedication to the game, but what I will say is some of the best things we've ever seen from Minecraft have come by just one of the developers working on something cool one day, deciding to share it with the world, getting direct feedback, and then making that into something amazing from the game. Some of those features never came. Years ago, we saw the height limit being raised to 1,000, but then they obviously couldn't add that. But there are all sorts of features which were revealed first via Twitter as like, oh, whoa, here's a thing we're working on, and you can see people's excitement or lack thereof near immediately. But the problem with the sniffer is it's something they were going to add regardless, right? They can't then remove it, and so this is just to get a round of feedback before they put it in snapshots. And because it's got that like in-game footage subject to change, it's clearly not a spontaneous thing that was put out there. This was planned for some time, and that does remove some of the joy of it. Maybe you have to remove some of the joy and the spontaneity when you've got multiple hundreds of people working at a company, but I think if you're Mojang, you should just say, yeah, let our employees share what they want about the game. Even if you have to say, just make sure if you're sharing something, put this in-game footage subject to change on there, because again, every time I look at this, I'm like, oh, okay, you know, it looks fun, you can actually see it in real game, but also it's clear it's not something you can play, and then no one should theoretically be able to be mad. I mean, obviously people can be mad about anything. I'm mad the sun rose today. I was sleeping so well. I wasn't actually sleeping very well, but you know, I could have been sleeping well, and then the sun ruined it, and you know what? I'm sick, so now I'm mad at people who go to restaurants. That's a category of Twitter user I've seen a lot. People being like, oh, I can't believe you still think going out and eating at restaurants is more valuable than people's lives. And so you know what? I'm gonna pick some random things to be mad at. You know what I hate? I hate that the camel looks too good. I hate that the sniffer looked too good. They make Minecraft inconsistent. They should make a terrible version of these, put it in the programmer art texture pack, and then we should have a low-res version of the sniffer. Also, you know what I hate? I hate that I can't look at this mob and not see its giant nose as a face. It just looks like a really derpy face, and you know, it's much cuter when you don't do that, but it's all my brain can do. I've never had this issue with any other mob, but yeah, this is just a giant face looking at Alex right now. This is just a giant video about something called the sniffer. Well, funnily enough, I've had a problem with sniffing because I've been sick. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's one I've wanted to make all weekend, but I've just been bedridden again. I don't know how I got sick twice in such a short period of time, but I'm looking forward to doing it again. And yeah, I look forward to the next snapshot because all of these connecting features for 1.20 will be coming out soon. We just don't know when soon is. Is it next week's snapshot? Is it 2 weeks from now for the beta? I won't know for sure, but I will expect that if we're seeing in-game footage now, we're probably going to see some form of playable version not too far from now. That's what I hope for, at least. But you know what else I hope for? I hope you have a good day and that you enjoy yourself, because I'll see you next time. Unless I die. Goodbye.